Justin Glover here for Richmond Athletics, here with head coach Aaron Roussell. Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
So let's get right into it. Those 48 hours of all the cancellations of sports. Where were you and what was going through your mind?
I'm gonna call it. It was that Wednesday that week. I think it was the 11th, and was actually on a trip up to New Jersey. And you're in the car for probably 12 hours that day, wondering what you're going to listen to, and think you have podcasts and audiobooks lined up. And I remember getting in the car, and they were talking about the Ivy League tournament getting canceled, and thought that was crazy. And by the end of it, getting back in the car that night, talking about how some of the NBA games are going to be played without fans, and that was actually the night that Rudy Gobert had tested positive. And I remember Tom Hanks that night. Just all of a sudden, these things on the radio were coming up, and I remember calling my wife saying, and she was excited about tournaments coming up. And I remember saying, Molly, I said, I think this is the last college basketball night we're going to have. I said, I really don't see this happening. There's just, it's too big right now. And you're still holding out hope. And that next day, had planned on, I had actually packed and was ready to go to Brooklyn for the men's tournament, the A10 tournament. And we had some meetings with the staff that Thursday. And I think by the end of the day, it was, hey guys, grab all your stuff that just in case we're not here in the office for a while. And so a lot of our staff kind of dispersed and went back home to be with some family. Some of them obviously still here in Richmond, but that was really the last time that we were all together, was that March 12th. And you never thought at that point it was going to be as extended as what it has been. But obviously we're in some crazy and really unfortunate times.
Talk about some of the creative ways you and your staff have been, getting together and meeting with the team.
Yeah, I guess we thought we were creative at the time, that we just thought we could do everything by video. And, at that point it was FaceTime and Zoom. And, I think probably about 5 days into this, we kind of all joked that we wish we would have had some sort of stock in Zoom. I feel like we had been on Zoom quite a bit. I think that first week, which actually was going to be spring break, or was spring break, turns out to be the first week of spring break for our student athletes. Just at that point, I just called all of them. I talked with all of them one-on-one, kind of tried to assure things that things would be okay. Tried to gauge a little bit what they had with them. For a lot of those kids, they left to go to Dayton on the flight to Dayton, and some of those guys left and went home for spring break from Dayton, so they didn't really have a lot of things with them. I think for a lot of these kids, their dorm rooms are like they left thinking they were going to come back after a long weekend at a basketball tournament. So I don't know how much all of them were prepared for this, and just tried to calm their nerves, but also at the same point, hey, if you're able to get back down here, if you're able to get some stuff, I would do that, because you just don't know how long this is going to last. So there's been a lot of Zoom calls since. Some of that's just been with our staff and them, kind of some postseason individual meetings. We've done a lot of, or at least started to do a lot of the Zoom group calls. And sometimes it's just a check-in. We had one yesterday that literally was nothing outside of going around in a circle talking about the positive things that are going on in our lives. There's obviously just a really unfortunate thing, and some of us know people that have been inflicted with the disease. So it was really just, hey, this is our goal today, is to be positive. We're going to talk about something great that's happened to us and 2 benefits of being at home so far. And later today, I have an article that I'll send to our players and our team, and we'll have on Friday, have kind of a fun Friday, as we're calling it, and get together and have 2 of our players that are going to lead the discussion, talking about the article on it's going to be a variety of things, but this week, just the habits of successful people.
Speaking of positivity, first year, 15 wins, a postseason win, 6-win improvement. Talk about how you build from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that when you start a season, you don't put a number. We're not one of those that puts a goal number or anything we want to accomplish. We just want to make sure that we're advancing, not just for this year, but really laying the groundwork for the program. And you mentioned it, getting to 15 wins. I don't know if that's every coach is not always maybe bragging about that, but I thought that was a great accomplishment for this team. We had the highest strength of schedule of anybody in our league. We were on the road a ton this year, and we jumped up 150 spots with the RPI. We went from 275 the year before to 125. As a coach, you still think back to some of the ones that maybe slipped away. There was a lot of close games, both that we came out on top of, and some that we didn't. So I definitely think that I don't think there's anybody out there that isn't thinking that we are trending in the right direction, in the positive direction. And so I'm really excited about what we have coming back. I'm really excited and thankful for everybody that was on the team this year and really laid the foundation, laid the groundwork, and hopefully we'll all feel a part of it for all the successes we hopefully have in the future.
And then finally, what do you miss most about not being on campus?
The easy answer is obviously just being on the floor with our players, and I think that's something that we as a staff really talked about, that this was going to be a big off season for our team. We laid everything out for what all of our players needed to work on, the individual player development, kind of what we wanted to see from them, and the return is what we wanted to see as a goal for next year. A lot of our players talking about team goals and really high aspirations. And I think that's great. It's going to be harder now. I still have told each of our players and told them as a group, this is still going to be a vitally important offseason. This is still something that we can achieve some really high goals. We also have to step back and take a look that this was a good league this year. That was a very young league. This A10 is going to be very, very good here over the next few years. There's not we had some good players this year that are leaving, but majority of the big time talent is coming back. And I think if you go up and down the standings, you're pretty much saying every program in the A10 is probably going to be better next year. And hopefully we're included in that, but it's going to take some time. And I think that's the big thing, is we felt like we had to be a little more hands-on this year with our players in the off season. Now it's going to be a little more on the self-discipline part. So we'll miss having our hands actively involved in that. And then the other part too is just being in the office and with our staff. I think we're a staff that hangs out quite a bit, not just works together, but hangs out quite a bit. Whether that's lunches in the conference room or just gathering, and having people over to our place. I feel like my kids are going nuts missing their classes and missing school, but they're missing our staff. Last week we popped by Brittany's house and brought her lunch just because my kids kept saying they wanted to see Brittany, and so that's been hard for us. Like I said, I feel like we're on the Zoom calls and we're doing the video stuff and chats quite a bit, but I think we're a pretty social staff that hangs out quite a bit, and even more than that, just walking around the offices, seeing everybody. You know what I mean? I think that's something that I always tried to do, is just walk around throughout the complex and have face-to-face interaction. For an extrovert, a blue like I am, that's something I've definitely missed.
Well, thanks for joining us, Coach. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Thank you, and be safe, stay smart, and take care of your family, please.
Thank you.